Welcome to episode number 128, 3 ways your aviation website could be preventing sales.
Exactly.
Now wait just a minute. Aren't aviation websites supposed to be helping people make sales?
Yeah, well, that's if they're appropriately designed.
Right. Well, with all the time and money that people put into them, you would hope that they would help you make sales, right?
That's the intent.
That's the intent. But we see an awful lot of aviation websites. In fact, people consult with us, new people 2 or 3 times a week, where one of their primary concerns is their website. And so when we go into those and look for the things that are the most frustrating, a lot of times these folks have either spent a lot of time or spent a lot of money on their website and it's just not performing the way they had hoped.
Or both.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's the simplest things, it's kind of like if you leave something unplugged and the first thing the IT department asks you is it plugged in? And you're like,
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. So these things may seem obvious, but I have to tell you, they are the most common things that we see, even from very sophisticated and fairly large companies, right?
And they lose sales.
And they absolutely lose them sales every single time. Okay. So the first mistake that we see seems so obvious it should go without saying, but it certainly doesn't, right?
And you may not have this kind of phone anymore. However, the phone number's not there.
Right. And, you may think, oh, phones are such a thing in the past. Nobody does phones anymore. Everybody's doing chat and Twitter and instant messaging and all these other things. But the demographic that we're talking about is phone-oriented. They're people who grew up doing business on the phone. And, these are high-ticket, complex purchases where they're going to have questions that your chatbot can't answer, right?
Well, let's talk about chat for a minute.
Okay.
Back before they had AIs on chat,
mm-hmm.
It wasn't too bad.
Mm-hmm.
Because somebody replied, you asked them a question, and you would go on. And laborious, but it would work.
Mm-hmm.
Now, not only is it tedious, laborious, it doesn't work
mm-hmm.
because the chatbot asks you a question as you go in, you answer the question, and then it asks you another question, and then you get down to, and it asks you the same question again. The different words, same question,
mm-hmm.
and you just almost can't get to a human.
Right. So, when you're talking about the kind of people that are buying from you, these are people who are involved in business and general aviation. They are people who are addicted to convenience, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they are people who expect outstanding service. And they expect to work with a human being. And they expect to be able to get somebody on the phone, right?
And I'm not going to say the name of the company. I had this happen to me yesterday.
Okay.
It was one of the top 3 tech firms in the country.
Wow.
So, and they can't get it right. Don't talk to me about chat.
Right. Exactly. So no matter what else you have on your homepage, even if you have a chat with me now or a, some other way for people to respond, and even if you would prefer that they respond to you in some other way or request a quote or whatever, you want to make sure that there is some way for them to pick up the phone and talk to a human being during business hours, right?
Note, let's emphasize human being.
Right.
I don't want to talk to AI when I call that phone number either. And there are a couple of easy questions, easy things to do. If it's an AI, I'll just hang up.
Right. Okay. So a couple of statistics that are really important to know. One is that 85% of customers will not leave a message. So, if they try to call you and they don't get anything, or, they get a voicemail or whatever, they're not going to leave a voicemail. They're one click away from your competitor, so they're just going to make one more click and call. They're not going to wait for you to get back to them unless there's some really compelling reason for you to get hold of them. So here's a few corollaries to the not having a phone number on your homepage. One is that your phone number is hard to find, so it might be buried at the very bottom of the page or on some contact us page or something like that.
If I can't go to this, okay, not on the front page, bad, mm-hmm. but workable. Mm-hmm. If I go to the site map, mm-hmm. and that's one click, and then if I go and click, what is the typical term?
Contact
us.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not there, that's not good.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So If the phone number is hard to find, that's a problem. If the phone number is not clickable, that's also a problem because a lot of people are on their phone, when they're looking for something or on their tablet.
What did they tell us? It's a huge percentage of people that do most of the stuff on phones anymore. Mm-hmm. Smartphones.
That's true. On our own website, actually, it's only about 25%, but still, that's 25%.
Yeah, but I think industry-wide, and I don't mean aviation, but industry nationwide, it's more like in the 80s.
Yeah, that's true. So, a lot of people are going to be using a device, and if your phone number is clickable, they can just use their thumb and click your phone number, and their phone will call it. If that's not the case, in a lot of cases, they will have to remember your phone number while they click their phone button and type it in. And, for people who are juggling, maybe they're on a layover, they're in an airport, they don't have a pen, there's a lot of things that you want to do to make this more convenient for people, right? Rather than less. Okay. Even worse, when they do call the phone number, it leads to a voicemail box. And as I said, they are not going to leave a message. Even worse than that is if the voicemail box is full. And there have actually been some brokers and insurance folks that we have worked with when I've been trying to get hold of them and they have a full mailbox. And, that's one of the first lectures that I end up giving them is no matter how good of a job we do with marketing, if people are getting to a full mailbox for aviation insurance or especially to buy an airplane, there are many, many, many options that they have for both of those things, and they are not going to put up with that.
If you're paying us for marketing, you deserve to be castigated by her.
Exactly. You're not paying me to be nice, right? You're paying me to tell you the truth. But, honestly, you're going to lose a lot of business if what you sell is a service and you're showing a very poor example of the kind of service that you offer if people can't get hold of you. Now, I get it. It is really hard to have somebody answer the phone during business hours. And I can promise you, if you call our office during business hours, it is not going to be me that answers the phone.
But somebody will, a real human.
But it will be a real human. There are services that you can get for not a ton of money. We use Call Ruby. It's great. They are very intelligent people who can think on their feet. And, will do their best to help folks that call in. And we can give them a whole bunch of instructions about these are things that we can do. If none of these apply, then get hold of one of us. And, if it's one of our current clients, it's a VIP client, then there's some things that you can do to make sure you get hold of us. If not, then certainly we'll set a time to get back to them within the business day. So there are ways that you can set up protocols so that people always get a human being and always get good service.
Yep.
And if what you sell is service, which is true of just about everybody. So thing number one is phone problems, not allowing people to easily use the phone to get hold of a human being using your website. Thing number two is if you have an outdated or cheap design. And what I mean is some of those free or cheap website builders. Some of them don't look terrible, and they may work for you for a while, but a lot of them look like your site was designed by an 8th grader. They're very inflexible in their design, and it looks like you've just plugged a few things in, and you didn't really care all that much about your customers. You didn't really care all that much about your branding or your appearance. You just set up your school colors or whatever, and this is your high school volunteer sports team kind of a look. And that's not what you want for an aviation product or service, right?
And on top of that, they are not modifiable easily for purposes of search, for purposes of adding marketing information and CRM integration, etc.
Right, exactly. And, so if your competitor's website was next to one that looked like this, if people are rapidly clicking through 2 or 3 different options for, someone that could provide the same product or service to them, they want to look for one that looks professional, someone that looks like pretty polished, that looks like they are going to devote the time and energy and resources. It looks like a company that's serious about what they're doing and has invested in what they're doing, right?
The terminology is look and feel.
Exactly. That's exactly right. I just didn't want to use that terminology.
Yeah, but I did.
Okay, that's fine. All right, so thing number 1, phone problems. Thing number 2, an outdated or cheap design. Thing number 3 is navigation. So let's say you come to the home page, which is where everybody starts usually at a website, and you're looking for a piece of information or an answer to a question, and what you want happens to be 47 clicks in, right?
That's not good.
That is not good. Once again, your competitor sites are just a click away. So you really want to make sure that everything that your customers are most likely to want to see is pretty close to where they come into the site. So you might want to make some new landing pages. So let's say you serve 4 or 5 different audiences. You may want to have 4 or 5 different landing pages so that those folks are going to end up somewhere close to their most frequently asked questions or the things that they are most likely to want first, right?
And you can integrate this into a website that's using current technology rather than one of the Build-A-Bear kind of
website or Wix or Build-A-Bear. That's cool. Yeah, you go to the mall and $9.99 later you come out with
a bear.
Yeah. Frankenbear.
Yeah, the kids love it, but
Exactly. And, they have their time and place. Honestly, I'm not against people saving money. I am against people doing bad design. So,
exactly.
We use a 31-point checklist when we evaluate a website, and it's based on Jacob Nielsen's usability. There are things that people expect when they come to a website. They expect to have a search window in the upper right-hand corner. That's a pretty standard convention. They expect the navigation to be across the top or to the left. Those are things that people are looking for, and there are ways to be clever. Your website navigation is not one of them. You want everything to be where people expect it to be because they get frustrated and they leave if that is not the case. Yep. So if you'd like us to do that website evaluation, that is a service that we offer as well. So you want to make sure that you're meeting your customers' expectations really, really easily, because what people come to the web for is convenience. And if there's ever a group of people, it's aviation consumers, especially business and general aviation consumers, are addicted to convenience, right?
And structure.
And structure, exactly. They want things to be where they want them to be, and they want their questions answered now. And they expect to talk to a human being. So those are 3 ways that you can make sure that you meet the needs of people that come to your website. So recapping really quickly, 3 mistakes that lose sales. 1, no phone number or a phone number that leads to the dreaded full mailbox or is not clickable or those other things. 2, an outdated or cheap website design. And 3, poor navigation.
Yep.
So if you'd like to learn more, we do have a free website service provider tip sheet. You can get there from our website. It's only 2 clicks in. You click in the left-hand navigation, our tip sheets, and one of the tip sheets in the list there. Or you can Google Aviation Website Provider tip sheet, and it's the first one to come up. So you can go ahead and get that. It's free of charge, and that will help you evaluate your own website and make sure that you're getting the best performance from that investment, right? If you'd like to talk with us specifically, once again, on the left-hand side of our website, there is a Let's Talk button. So you can click that and set an appointment for any time you would like. Or you can give us a call from the handy-dandy clickable phone number on our website, and that is 702-987-1679. You will get a real human being anytime during business hours who will help you set an appointment or will find a time when we're available to chat with you. So, like talk on the phone with you, not chat via
right
IA or some bot kind of thing.
Exactly.
All right. So thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week.
See you next time.